Welcome to our first Juice Plus experience for 2018. Our focus tonight will be on autoimmune disorders, and I would like to start by giving you just a little bit of background on our Juice Plus company. Our Juice Plus company originally started out over 40 years ago selling water filters and smoke detectors. And when the market was saturated with that, they went looking for something that they could actually help people with. They knew that health was the thing to get into, and lo and behold, the amazing Juice Plus, after much trial and tribulation and getting the formula right, Juice Plus was born. Juice Plus is been around, I think, 28 years now, or we might have clicked over with the new year, I'm not sure. And it's something that's been around a long time. I know there's a lot of fads and a lot of new things out there, but this is something that has stood the test of time and is here to stay. It's such a great company to be involved in. And a few little statistics on why we're here tonight. So I found this information from the Australasian Society of Clinical Immunology. Now, autoimmune disease affects 5% of Australians and are more common than cancer or heart disease. So that gives you a bit of an idea of how many people are dealing with autoimmune. And now there's a lot of common ones, around 20 autoimmunes that are really common, but in Australia there are actually over 100 different autoimmune diseases. And allergy and immune are actually put in together when they're doing research and study. So it says allergy and immune diseases are among the fastest growing chronic diseases in Australia. So I wanted to share my story with you all tonight. And my story started with my beautiful daughter, who's now 6. When she was 2.5 years old, she was diagnosed as a type 1 diabetic and also with having celiac disease. We found that out in the same hospital stay. And we were really close at that time in hospital to not knowing if we were bringing our daughter home. And in the really dark hours, sitting alone in that hospital, watching over my little girl, hoping that she would get better and that I could take her home, I prayed to any God or Buddha or any religious faith or being or universe that is out there, that if I got to take this precious child home, I would do anything in my power to keep her well. So that led us on a massive journey, and I basically became a hermit and locked myself inside our house to learn how to look after a child. For all of you that know about type 1 diabetes, a lot of the things that diabetes people should eat are things like rolled oats and long-burning foods, which are actually a no-no for celiacs. So we were hit with a double-edged sword, and I needed to get really smart and really creative on how I looked after my children. So in that feat of being the superwoman mama, I actually burned myself to the ground. And I had a beautiful friend reach out to me, and she was like, "Mama, you need some help." And I agreed. Yes, I really did need some help. And she showed me Juice Plus. And Juice Plus come into my life, and I will say that I wasn't sure that it would do much for me, but I was at the point where I needed to do something. I needed to do anything. And I gave Juice Plus a go, and the change that it made in my life, I was like, this is it. This is for our family. We're doing it for everyone, and we've done that. And I would say at the end of this month, our family have been on the products for 2 years, and everyone is well. We're so rare to have a sniffle or a cold in the house, and when we do, it passes so quickly. And for those of you with people that have an autoimmune disease, you know that keeping well is the number one thing. You need your sleep, you need to eat well. And all of the people I know that suffer with autoimmune tell me that stress is a trigger, and the times that they have flare-ups with their autoimmune diseases is when they're not taking care of themselves. So Juice Plus has done something amazing, and they've found a way to look after each health system that we have. So our first health system being our nervous system, and our nervous system requires air, being breath, which is good quality air to breathe, but also breath down into the belly, like in a meditation or a deep breathing kind of sense. And we need good fatty acids. Juice Plus has created the Omega blend, and this is new to us. This was created in September. Well, it was released in Australia September last year. And it was a little bit longer in America. We have the blend of 3, 6, and 9 in a 2-to-1 ratio, and that is the most potent blend of omegas that is available globally, I believe. And I also believe we're the only company to be doing it on a vegan level. So most people are doing the fishy thing and burping up fish all day, and we are so glad to not be in the fish pool. We're free from the fishy smell. Then the next product that we need, or the next system that we need to take care of, is our digestive system. We have these amazing complete sachets. Now, a complete sachet is built like a meal, and it is built to give us a calm tummy. So when we have a calm tummy, we're feeling well and our body is absorbing our nutrients. When we don't have a calm tummy, it can play havoc with our system. So we need to keep our nervous system calm and our digestive system calm. And that brings us to our last one, which is, this is the big one for our autoimmune people, is immunity. Okay, we need to keep on top of that. You'll see these have the beautiful color of the rainbow. This is a fruit, a vegetable, and a berry capsule. Now, these actual products are food. They are beautiful farmed foods, vine ripened on non-GMO farms. They're taken to warehouses close by, and if you can imagine a large vat, everything goes into these. The skin, the pips, the only thing that's skinned is our pineapple, and we've got amazing foods in there. The process that they go through is reducing the sugar and the water out of the product, and it's drying it down on really low temperatures. So what we're doing is actually sealing into the capsule live food. This is not a vitamin. This is not something that's been synthetically made in a chemist or a lab. This is actually food. So when your body is flooded with nutrients, it tends to behave like it should. And not only that, it's boosting up the way that you feel. Your skin starts to glow. Everything starts to feel great when your body is behaving the way it should. And for our autoimmune people, that is reducing the stress on your body. It's helping you absorb the food that you're taking in, which is so, so important. You don't need to be ill with common colds and flus and gastros going around when you have an autoimmune disease. So enough about me for just now. I'm going to pass over to Anna, who's going to share her lovely story with us on her journey of what her life was like before she found Juice Plus and how her life's been since.
Thanks, Hi guys. Thanks so much, Kel. So my name's Anna. I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis 7 years ago now, and that journey has actually been hell. We tried everything. So doctors they just kept throwing prednisone at us. They kept on throwing Imuran at us, enemas, suppositories, everything that you can think of was just, if I'm having a flare-up, let's increase the dose. Let's just keep doing that. Nothing was fixing, nothing was working. I then fell pregnant with Hugo, and everything got a lot worse. We were hospitalized throughout that whole process. And then after we had him, I actually went into remission when we moved back to Australia, and it was during that time that I was introduced to Juice Plus. Honestly, we saw almost immediate improvement. My hemoglobin levels went back up. My iron was just better. There was no flare-ups, nothing. So we were deemed in remission. Then I did the silly thing of going, I'm feeling so much better, and didn't stick to my Juice Plus ritual. And we fell pregnant with my second baby, and the wheels fell off. I went to see my obstetrician 2 weeks ago now, and was immediately rushed upstairs for day surgery because all my symptoms had flared back up. My iron levels were completely low. They were sitting at 10. My hemoglobin was sitting at 95. So it was very, very low. My body wasn't really absorbing anything at all. So it's been during that process that I've been like, what am I doing different? That's right, I'm not actually taking my tablets correctly. So I started that. My hemoglobin is back up. My iron is back up. My energy level is back up. I feel normal again. So yeah, it's been a roller coaster, but there's obviously one common thing that's keeping it together. So yeah, that's been my experience with the Juice Plus. I know personally when we are doing the shakes, it's amazing. Like, they really are amazing on your digestive tract. I highly recommend those to anyone.
Thank you so much for sharing, beautiful. And I haven't been in touch with Anna for a little while, and I'm a little bit surprised to hear that, but I'm so, so glad that you had your Juice Plus there that you could pick up again. And there's nothing worse than being pregnant and dealing with your own illnesses and not feeling well. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to pass over for one more story now to Sandy's going to share her story with us. Take it away, Sandy.
Hi, everybody. How are you? Good evening. For those who don't know me, I'm Sandy. I'm 47 years of age, and I'm a wife and a mum of a beautiful 4-year-old boy. And I guess my story started when I was 34 years of age, and I woke up one day and the left side of my body was paralyzed and I couldn't move. And basically I had to lie in bed at the time and try and crawl my way out of bed and into the shower. At first I thought I'd had a stroke at 34 years of age, and but because I could feel immense pain in the left side of my body, I knew it wasn't a stroke, and I thought it was something muscular, and I'd just overdone it. So I crawled into the shower and got into a hot shower, and it took me about 5 hours to actually reduce the muscle tension so that I could actually move. And at the time, I was working a very high corporate job, and I was working 80 hours plus a week. I was probably burning the candle at both ends, probably too much. So I kind of thought, well, I literally need to slow down and start reassessing what I'm doing. I've been brought up to live a very healthy, active life, and I always have lived a very healthy, active life. So it was a big shock to me, but it was a big wake-up call. So I thought I'd just change a few things and I'd be fine. And 2 weeks later, the same thing happened, and I could not move my entire body. And I started to get very stressed, obviously, more stressed. And my flatmate had to actually literally carry me out of bed and put me in the shower and get me to the hospital, which I was then admitted and did test after test after test after test. They thought I had lupus. They thought I had Lyme's disease. They thought I had all sorts of things. And I was finally diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. And at the time, my rheumatologist at the time actually explained to me that it was treatable. There were 7 different types of medication that I would need to be on. And this was coming from someone who hates taking Panadol. I was like, no, not going down that path. And he was a male rheumatologist that he just slightly at the end snuck in the fact that, oh yeah, and by the way, you won't be able to have children if you start the medication treatment. And I was like, no, never going to happen. I'm going to leave it as it is, and I'm going to go down the natural path and get back into natural medicine, which I did. And I managed my disease for 6 years on natural medicine. However, when I was about 39, the pain was so intense. And anyone that has an autoimmune disease that has joint inflammation or muscle inflammation and spasms knows that we live with a level of pain threshold that not everybody else understands. You sort of just start to believe that that's normal and that's just the way things are going to be. So you just continue to live with it. Other people don't understand it, but I got to the point where it started to affect me mentally, and I started to fall into great depression. And it was not me. That wasn't me. And to have mental health issues and to go down that path, that was my big wake up call, I guess. And so from there, I decided to seek treatment and find a new rheumatologist that actually understood my natural path and could work with me, which I did. And I changed medication, or went on to new medication. And in that 6 years, they changed the treatment quite drastically. And I went on to new medication, and through that, I started a 3-month intensive treatment of having needles in my feet, heels, hands, spine, of cortisone for 3 months every week. so that the medication could actually take in my system. But the big thing that I always was conscious of is the medication that they use, and still to this day, is very lethal. Like any prescribed medication, as anybody who sort of has any disease of any kind or any that needs to be medicated, I was more scared of the actual medication they were putting into my system than I was of the actual disease. And it was the medication that I take, part of it still is used in chemotherapy treatment and stuff. So my goal has always been to get off any sort of prescribed medication. With rheumatoid arthritis, when you fall pregnant, you actually go into remission. So unlike Anna, I was fortunate that when I fell pregnant at the age of 42 with my son, I actually went into remission, and for the first time in forever, I didn't have pain, and I thought, my God, this is awesome. I'm just going to keep pumping out babies. But what I didn't expect was 6 weeks to the day after I gave birth, my rheumatoid arthritis came back 3 times as bad. The pain, I was crippled. I couldn't hold my son. I couldn't pick him up. My husband had to do a lot of that for me. I couldn't, it just killed me. It absolutely crushed me. My energy levels were so depleted. My immune system was just fighting it tooth and nail and fighting itself and eating itself. And I knew that there was something that I had to do. I was eating still very well. I was eating organically. I was doing everything that I could naturally, but something just still was not right and was missing. And it was my beautiful cousin-in-law, Christine Drummond, who said to me, Sandy, have you tried Juice Plus? And I was like, I've heard of that. Why have I heard of that? And funnily enough, my mum had been on it about 20 years ago. And she basically said to me, look, give it a try and see if it has an effect on you. And I did. And I guess the big thing of going down a natural path, I was always very conscious of keeping my diet alkaline, eating alkaline foods. I was very, very years ago into the gut health thing even back then, and knew the importance of it and how I had to keep gut healthy. So to find a product that one eliminated all of the cost of natural medicine I was spending was just absolutely amazing. But the way that it's actually kept my inflammation at bay has been incredible. And because of that, and because of the product and what it's done to my system, I've now only down to 1 medication. All other medications, and I literally just take 1. And the plan with that, and my room is absolutely gobsmacked and dumbfounded by it. We also still can't believe that I still do triathlons. I just signed up to do another half Ironman. I ski. I'm completely active, and that's all the things that she told me that I would never be able to do again, that I would have to give up my passions because my joints just couldn't take it. And I was like, never going to happen. So there was a way around it. And I truly believe from taking Juice Plus and getting the whole food nutrition into me, it has made an absolute huge impact on my life, which in itself has made a massive impact on my family's life, because I'm not going down those paths anymore. I'm not in constant pain anymore. I can actually take care of them, take care of myself, and actually live a better, healthier, vibrant life. So to me, I guess it's that, I feel for anybody that's on prescribed medication, the other effects that it has on you, which I still believe that Juice Plus actually counteracts those. So that is my very short version of my story. I guess the other thing that I have to say is the omegas have been an absolute godsend in my life. I used to take 5 fish oil capsules a day. That used to give me all sorts of reflux and God knows what, and feral. And the omegas are absolute bliss. I love them to death and can't live without them. So, yeah. So I feel for Anna and Kelly as well. For those of you who don't know, that's the other thing too, that autoimmune diseases actually, they believe, are genetic. And there's a carried on gene. So my family history actually is quite broad in autoimmune diseases that fall into different categories. And it's very difficult to explain that to people because there are so much diversity in them. To actually, if you ever get a chance to speak to anyone with any sort of autoimmune disease and what they live with daily, on a daily basis, you get a very big understanding of how amazing people are, I think. So,
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Sally,
much for
for joining us.
sharing, Sandy. You gave me goosebumps there a few times. That's the first time I've ever heard your story. Thank you so much for sharing that. And
Pleasure.
I agree too. The omegas have made a big difference for us, and I quite like the omega berry mix for a facial. Have you given that a try yet? That's amazing. Skin feels good for about 2 weeks, I reckon. And just on what Sandy was saying, with already eating well, it's something we hear a lot in Juice Plus, but our government recommends that people eat 2 and 5 of fruit and veg each day. The World Health Organization actually says 11 to 13. And anyone like Sandy who's competitive or, like doing triathlons or overly active and as a PT, so people like that should be consuming 19 serves of fruit and veggies a day just to keep their body at a maintaining level. So it's near impossible to eat that kind of food every day. But the Juice Plus, if you are taking your trio of the rainbow, you're getting 30 nutrients there. You're getting another 17 out of your complete sachet. And I will have to double check on the omegas. I can't say for certain I know there's 5 different sources that they're getting those oils out of, but I can't say for 100% I know the number yet of the nutrients there. So Jojo's going to share a story with us now, and she's going to tell us a little bit about the Juice Plus business with that as well. Go ahead for us, Jojo.
Hi everyone. So like Sandy and Anna, I've been battling autoimmune conditions for a long time. I'm 34 at the end of January, and was a very sick child. But I guess no one really knew what was going on with me. I had a lot of food intolerances and that kind of thing, but my parents didn't understand what was happening. I always had things like glandular fever and tonsillitis and those sorts of things growing up. And when I moved out of home, I finally sort of said enough is enough, and went searching for someone who was able to test me for allergies and that kind of thing. So I had all the allergy testing done, and I cut a lot of things out of my diet. But then I had a lot of fertility issues and that kind of thing, and it put me in a really hard place mentally. So I wasn't eating as well as I should have been. And over the years, I was suffering with, chronic fatigue, chronic pain. I was exhausted. No one could figure out why. I was having tests done all the time, and nothing was sort of showing up. My inflammation markers were always really high, but no one could tell me why. Like Sandy, they were testing for lupus, all sorts of things. And I remember one time during a really stressful period in my life, my mum was battling cancer. I was working a really hectic job, looking after a little one and driving a lot to work. And I had a seizure behind the wheel of my car. And that was probably the point where the doctors sort of said, okay, we really need to start figuring out what's going on. I was in my mid-20s at the time. And one doctor said, with all your symptoms, I think you might have multiple sclerosis, but you're very young. So, we'll just play it by ear. It went on for like a few more years after that, when I sort of had another seizure, and I lost vision in my left eye. At the time, they thought I'd had a stroke as well. Went into hospital, had a CT scan. They couldn't see anything there. It was clear I hadn't had a stroke. They sent me to Melbourne. I live in central Victoria, and they sent me to Melbourne for an MRI, where it showed that I had 2 lesions on my brain and 1 on my spinal cord, which meant that I had multiple sclerosis. So I started some holistic therapies and trying to clean up my diet even further. I was reading the Overcoming Multiple Sclerosis book to get some ideas there. I began studying nutrition. You know, I had always heard that health begins in the gut. So I was willing to do anything. And I started to feel okay after a little while. And then I began noticing that I was having a lot of pain sort of in my back and in my hands, and a lot of joint pain. My psoriasis was flaring up. And I was then diagnosed with fibromyalgia and psoriatic arthritis. And I was put onto methotrexate, which is a chemotherapy drug. Like Sandy was saying, the symptoms of the drugs themselves can be a lot worse than the actual symptoms of the condition sometimes. I was bedridden for 6 weeks when I first started methotrexate. My daughters would be beside my bed, constantly crying because I couldn't be with them, I couldn't go out with them, I couldn't see them at school, that kind of thing. And that's when I really went, something has to give. And I came across Juice Plus on Facebook through an ad. And so it was more so the ad was a business ad, and we were struggling financially, and I was looking for something that I could work from home because I was really sick. I had to give up uni, I had to give up my job, and as I mentioned, I was giving up a lot of time with my kids, but I needed an income of some kind. So I began the business and began the products at the same time. And within weeks, I was noticing my health was drastically changing. My energy was increasing, the pain was going, the swelling was going. I'd started on the omegas, and they were helping with the pain and inflammation in my hands. I was able to wear my rings again, my wedding ring and my other rings. Just little things like that. Yeah, and the business side of it has just, it's all early days for me, but I'm just excited about the prospect of being able to work from home. I'm doing something that I love. I'm basing that around nutrition and health. I'm helping people, being able to, get through their autoimmune conditions and other health issues. My children are noticing great benefits, and it means I can be home with them. I can see them do things at school. I don't have to book holidays, time off, leave work early to, go to a special assembly, those kinds of things. So I'm very excited about what the future holds for us, my family, and the amazing company that Juice Plus is. The personal development and the growth that I've had in just a short amount of time has been phenomenal. Haven't been this happy. My husband constantly says, I haven't seen you happy for so long. It's just been absolutely amazing. It's like a personal development course that I get paid for. It's awesome.
Thank you so much, Jojo, for sharing your story.
No
And
worries.
I totally agree. We get to learn so much about ourselves while we're helping others. And the most amazing thing about our business is they're such a company with a heart. I forgot to mention earlier, when any adult has a premium order, they are eligible to be part of our child health study. And now our child health study is sponsoring over 1 million children worldwide. And your child can choose from either the capsules if they're a little bit older and able to, or we have a child's chewable version of our Juice Plus, and this comes in the red and green at this stage. The children, they love them. They honestly think that they're like lollies. And if you are a paying customer, your child is eligible for up to 4 years to receive those chews. And all you need to do to participate with that is to be part of our study. and we let them know the details of, how the benefits that your child's receiving. So they ask you things like, how many vegetables do they eat in a day, and how many sick days do you have off school? And it's a really great reminder in 12 months' time when you fill out the survey and you notice, oh my God, my child didn't have any days off school for being sick. And knowing this year we had kids that were having up to 2 weeks off school with colds and flu, especially for my daughter being a diabetic, it's an absolute tenterhooks time for us. If she's unwell, we go down to testing her every hour if she's unwell to make sure that we can keep her levels okay, because they become erratic. So we don't need an unwell diabetic. And I'm sure for these ladies who are suffering with their autoimmune, being sick on top of that is just not something that you need. So I'd like to thank you for coming and giving up some of your time to be with us tonight. If anyone has invited you onto this call, or if you're watching the recording of this call, please know that the person that thought of you really cares for you. And if you have an autoimmune disease and they're reaching out to you, it may not be for you, but it's definitely worth a look. It's so much nicer to know that you can turn to something that is food and it is naturally made, rather than looking for the chemist alternatives all the time. And like Sandy said, sometimes the symptoms from the medication you receive can be, sometimes worse than what you're already dealing with. So Juice Plus is definitely no cure, but it's whole food nutrition, and we can never know what it's going to do in someone's body. But I definitely know that I love having the backup of bridging the gap between what we can eat and what we should actually eat. And my family will be forever thankful to Juice Plus for the products, and also for the beautiful community that we've found in our Juice Plus group. So thank you for jumping on this Monday night, 2018. And hopefully we can help you or reach out to someone you know or love that's doing it tough with autoimmune disease.